Hi, I'm Emily Mott, Associate in the Environmental Safety and Incident Response Group at Baker Botts, with our latest installment on important regulatory and legislative events in the first 100 days of the Biden administration. The administration marked Earth Day on April 22nd with the Leaders Summit on Climate. The international virtual event showcased the administration's commitment to elevating climate science. President Biden urged attending world leaders to outline how they will elevate climate action. EPA Administrator Regan appeared twice on Capitol Hill this week. First, Regan advocated for the president's 21% increase in EPA's 2022 budget before House appropriations. Regan also supported, before Senate appropriations, the president's American Jobs Plan, which calls for over $2 trillion in infrastructure and climate mitigation investments. This week, Interior Secretary Haaland launched a climate task force focused on climate change adaptation and resilience, current and historic environmental justice, and conserving managed lands. The task force will work with states, tribes, local governments, and environmental justice communities. Now I turn it to my colleague for further developments.
Hi, I'm Leslie Hodge, Senior Associate in Global Projects, looking at recent developments in offshore wind. Last week, the Biden administration canceled 2 offshore wind development zones. The zones, Fairways North and Fairways South, are part of a larger development zone that the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is studying for an anticipated lease sale in late 2021. This cancellation leaves more than 627,000 additional acres for development in the New York Bight area. Nevertheless, prospective developers should keep in mind the stated grounds for the cancellation: conflicts with maritime traffic, fishing, and seaside views. This cancellation occurs less than a month after the White House announced a target of 30 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2030. This announcement was made at a meeting convening cabinet and senior officials across the administration, which included the specific goals of advancing critical permitting milestones and access to $3 billion in debt capital through the DOE loan program. The canceled zones are directly south of New York's Great South Bay and Hamptons communities.
Hi, this is Emily Hutson, an associate in the Antitrust Group, here to provide you with an update on antitrust. On Wednesday, the Senate held a confirmation hearing for Lina Khan, who was nominated for the post of FTC Commissioner. Her testimony was consistent with her previous criticisms of big tech and the need for antitrust reform in the digital space. In particular, she focused on the difficulties of enforcement in an industry that is constantly evolving, the increasing concentration of ad markets, and the arbitrary nature of algorithm changes, which could have wide-ranging effects across many industries. Ms. Khan faced very little criticism, although Senator Blackburn appeared concerned about her lack of experience. Also on Wednesday, executives from Apple, Google, and other tech companies appeared before the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Competition Policy, Antitrust, and Consumer Rights to discuss their dominance in the App Store market. The key takeaway from the hearing was that bipartisan support for strong tech regulation is growing, and while the Competition and Antitrust Law Enforcement Reform Act may not pass in the immediate future, pressure is building among lawmakers. On Monday, Senator Josh Hawley introduced the Bust Up Big Tech Act. This bill would ban tech companies that market search engines, marketplaces, and exchanges from selling or advertising goods and services in ways that compete with third parties, ban big tech companies from providing internet infrastructure and hosting for other companies, grant the FTC the ability to monitor companies' compliance with the bill, and allow state AGs and private citizens the right to bring civil suits against any non-compliant firms. This bill comes on the heels of Hawley's Trust Busting for the 21st Century Act, banning all mergers and acquisitions by companies that have a market cap exceeding $100 billion, making it more challenging for big tech companies to buy and incorporate other tech groups.
Hello, this is George Fibbe in Baker Bott's Energy Regulatory and Energy Litigation Practice Groups. I'd like to give you a brief update on a U.S. Department of Energy action involving the bulk power system. By way of background, on May 1st, 2020, President Trump issued an executive order 13920 called Securing the United States Bulk Power System This executive order authorized the Secretary of Energy to prohibit the acquisition, transfer, or installation of certain bulk power system electric equipment sourced from foreign adversary countries. On December 17th, 2020, at the tail end of the Trump administration, the Secretary of Energy, Dan Brouillette, issued a prohibition order whereby a limited number of utilities were prohibited from acquiring, importing, transferring, or installing certain bulk power system electric equipment. That order targeted equipment manufactured or supplied by persons or entities under the jurisdiction of China. And then on January 20th, 2020, in one of President Biden's first day executive orders, 13990, which was entitled Protecting Public Health and the Environment and Restoring Science to Tackle the Climate Crisis, one of the things that President Biden did was suspend that earlier executive order regarding the bulk power system for a period of 90 days, during which time the new administration would consider a replacement order. And at that same time, the Department of Energy's prohibition order was also suspended. That suspension has expired, and now, effective April 20th, earlier this week, the new Secretary of Energy, Granholm, revoked the December 2020 prohibition order to allow for the department to conduct a request for information to get additional information on how to prepare a new prohibition order that would both strengthen the supply chain security of the U.S. electric subsector while balancing other concerns. One of the interesting aspects of this move by the new administration is that it does emphasize the risk and the threat to the U.S. electric energy sector and the electric grid in particular. The administration says specifically that the government of the People's Republic of China is equipped and actively planning to undermine the electric system in the United States. So while these orders are suspended, and while the new administration is considering what type of replacement order to prepare, it is relying on the electric energy sector, the utilities, to engage in prudent practices when it comes to sourcing critical equipment for the bulk power system. That's where it stands as of today, but we should expect the department to prepare a new rule and a new prohibition order of some type in the coming months. Thank you.